Okay, let's go back and continue our the next hour, the session. Before we move to the workspace to design with the marketing data, I would like to tell you one more thing I would like to share with you. It's pretty important, right? In the previous 10 minutes break, I also take a look for your week 2 and week 3, your midterm report. And just like you're done, you really do a good job. Just like this way. When I say that, you already have the data, you do some data, supposedly you already finished some data tracing, but at least you understand what about the include variable, they are meaningful. And then you move to some algorithm for computation, prediction, something else, right? But next, you really do a good job on comparing them. More than one algorithm, you know how to do the comparison. But here, I would like to show you one more thing. We call it ensemble learner. Ensemble learner. Ensemble learner, the idea is coming from the baking. From the baking skill. Typically, the baking skill will including two technical jobs. One we call it voting. Another one we call it aiming. Alright? For the voting skill, it means you compare more than 2 classifiers, maybe 5. Okay? Of course, what is your best classifier? You can pick the best. What is the best? Precisely, sensitivity, and then the best, only one, right? One from this 5. And another way is to do the voting. The voting means you have 5 classifiers, but you already have a K case. For the first case, the best model may be not correctly prediction. Your case 1. So there will be some potential risk. Even you do a good job, but that means you overall predict in a good way. Follow the best model. But for each case, it's not it may be possible not right. So then people they say, okay, we can use the voting. Voting means case by case. For the case 1, you have 5 case files. It means you have 5 answers. Okay. If 3 of them, 3 over 5, vote to what? Low. The answer will be low. Okay. Another 2, maybe another 2 is to predict high and the median celebrated. They will be in low. Is that okay? We call it voting. So you can understand voting just for classification job. And how about the average? Average means your Y is continuous data. You are do a prediction. So you for example, just like you do a classifier, you have more than one predictor. You have more than one prediction model. How can you identify the best one? Yeah, follow again. The high mean, small MSE, small MADE, small MAP. Yeah, a lot of division index help you to identify who makes the less error. They will be the perfect one. But again, it's for overall prediction. That means how you have 10 cases, you learn all the 10 cases and you make the final answer. But how about for each case? It may be not. Because some model, they will do a good precisely prediction in the early beginning. That's why we use the ROC curve. What is the best powerful, have the potential powerful to do a quick prediction. So some people, they check the ROC curve, they will say, okay, I love the powerful, jump too high in the early stage. I know this one, my desired model is pretty powerful intention in early stage, but then they will fall down. But if you take the way to overall case, maybe it slows down after you train all of the data. Maybe the area under the red color, the area is larger than the blue color. That's why we choose the best model. So how about, but my question is, how I can say the n case, the n plus 1 case, the n plus m case, how can you define? Is the best one model is still best? No. As you can see here, when we move to the n case, the blue line is higher than red line. So you should choose the red line. Does it make sense to us? Okay, that's why we extend it. So we extend this idea, we call it baking. So people they say, okay, when we develop the algorithm, how can I do? I can do some spatial setting internal my algorithm. So we call it ensemble learning. It means I ensemble my algorithm more better precisely in prediction, even for caching of prediction. So the internal ensemble learner, the typical two algorithms. One is the BT, boosting tree, or we call it GPT, gradient boosting tree. Okay, another one is RT, random forest. So when I check in your midterm, you use a lot of code and check. It's good. It's good practice. But maybe later you can consider to do some boosting tree and move random forest. Okay. So they call it ensemble learning. Why? Why we say that? Let's go back to the take an example for the case prior. I use the term means I use more than one case prior, right? That means I use the data for case prior 1. I use the data again for case prior 2. And for the data in the 5th time, I use the 5th case prior. What is the difference? Case prior is different, or the data is different? Can you follow my tongue? Even I use the same data, but I use different case prior, different kind of algorithm. I compare them. Not only compare them, I use them. Follow the voting skill. Use the case prior to help me to pick up what is the best answer for each case. It makes sense, right? But if I consider I have the domain knowledge, I have the long experience, I think, yeah, even supposedly if I only take one case prior, but I do some manipulation on the data file. Even the data file is from the same one. It means I have the data, I do some sampling. I do a random sampling. Okay? There will be the original data will be random sampling 2, random sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, sample 5. Follow the same case prior. I still also can do the voting, right? So if you understand this step, you can enlarge your idea. I also do the same data file, do the random sampling into 5 or 10 data sets. I follow the 5 algorithm. How many answers you will have? 10 times 5, 50 answers. You will do a good job of voting. Okay, so follow the idea. People they develop the boosting tree and the test random forest. One of the parameter setting is to do the sampling. They will do the sampling inside the data file, and they can do that. So we call it internal ensemble learning. It means we follow the boosting tree and the random forest. But another way I would like to show you is this. You can also own yourself by yourself. That means we don't really do some predefined data sampling. We just combine different algorithms together to make sense, to make our data analysis project more make sense. Okay. Before our first session, I discussed with Professor, follow his multivariate course, starting by principal component, data analysis, and then do some SEM, ANOVA. This is a way like answering learning. So I would like to share you is, after you use and learn from Statistica, you just take away for yourself what is the example learner. I just use a lot of algorithms, a lot of skill from Statistica to help me to do a good job for my data analysis. This is a confirmation. This is a confirmation. Because remember in the last course I shared you why don't we use the rapid deployment? If you only do this way, it's just a homework assignment. You just finish your assignment for homework. It's nothing helpful for your research. I heard Professor he mentioned you are the PhD program, right? Yeah. If you are still in the master degree, you can do this way. I believe so. You can do it. But you are a PhD program, you have to enrich your skill from your data more carefully, starting by the data cleansing job, check the missing data. And then you can follow up all the algorithms you use, even just only one kind of algorithm. Because right here, even I understand random forest, only one prior algorithm I learned. I still can do a variability of the classification compression because follow the body skill. I can do it. Alright?
It is another term for ensemble learning, like stacking.
Staking? It's not. I think it's not about staking. It's just I just do different. I just create different answers to help me to do the compression also.
Doesn't matter. Maybe next week we have a complete example. Maybe next week we can prepare a complete example to run.
Okay. Okay, let me show you that. All right. So let's go back to our previous discussion about the marketing data, right? What I mentioned here is just to show you. I would like to tell you how to do the cluster and then one-way ANOVA, because I don't want to only do the homework assignment for cluster analysis on this data file, but I also want to do that. Let's go. All right. So let's go back here. After we do some multiplication, you will see your data file marketing. There are special start after your data file name. There is also hint from Statistica to mention you, to remind you your data file is already revised. What you can do, you can choose to save it, but we don't care about it because, as we mentioned, we already put in the data workspace right here. But if not, you have to resave the data in case. Okay, if you don't want to save it, that will be okay. Just go back to the workspace, make a lot, and there's an option here, data source. I believe you already know how to do this. Do it, collect the data, marking data, put here. And I believe you know how to use this data node, make a connection right here, right? Yes. Okay, you can check your data right here. You already know that. Okay, so let's move to the cluster. To call the cluster analysis function in Statistica, there are two ways. The first way is about statistics and the multivariate, right here, cluster. So I check your midterm report. Some students you use the linkage way to do the cluster, right? You use the linkage way to do some cluster. It's a good thing, but the typical multivariate for cluster analysis there has one limitation. Why? Your data should be interval scale or above. That means your data has to be continuous data.
Continue and interval.
Yeah, interval scale or no, or above. That means you have the data like real number. The real number can help you to identify the distance, right? For example, I am in 200 km, professor in 197 km. What is the difference? 3. Easy to understand, right? But if we are labeled, I am in Kaohsiung, professor is in Pingdong. Who can tell us what is the difference between us? I go the highway first, the highway. You go the country way. There are a lot of options to identify the distance. But that will be the problem, because if your data is not really continuous data, it's pretty difficult for people to calculate a real distance. So in Statistica, follow the data mining menu, we involve another interesting skill we call the EM. Follow the cluster right here. EM. There are 2 options. First option is the K-means. K-means is a typical algorithm for cluster analysis. Follow the multivariate region. Okay. But right here, Statistica has some revision to generalize the K-means and put it right here. So you can see that the function is generalized K-means. It means even your data file is not really continuous format, you still can calculate the distance. But follow the back end, the algorithm, there is some generalization, revision on the algorithm. This will be kept. But another interesting and powerful tool I would like to introduce you is here. Is the EM. EM means who want to make a guessing about what is the EM. Can you imagine it? What is the EM? The E means it's per action. It's per action. M means maximization. In Chinese, it means 期望值最大化. It's per action maximization. Okay, how I can say that? Okay, you know how to calculate the mean, the average, right? So if you have the low data, a lot of numbers, you can sum of them and divide by n, you can get the mean, right? But in another way, the mean also have another name, we call it expected value, 期望值. Okay, that means if your data is not really low data, you have a categorized tabulation data, like a frequency table, right? It's a frequency table. Right? You have the frequency table. This is the frequency 1, frequency 2, the label. You will have the N, the N1, N2, N3. Summarize it in N. Right? So that means if your data is like this kind of format, it's not continuous, but you already know on this column, like male and female, we already supposedly, let me make an example. Supposedly we have 20 people right here. This is a male. We have 20 students right here. This is a male. This is a female. We have 5 ladies here. That means we will have 15 gentlemen right here. What is the probability? What is the probability? 25, 75, right? right?
Yeah.
So we can calculate it. Its pair value by what? Summation fi pi? No. Summation pi okay. Its pair value is also we call the mean, right? I have 70% probability for male. I have a 25% for female lady. We also know the individual numbers. We can get its paired value. We call it mean also. So we use this idea to calculate. If I have the data like this way, if I have a data like this way, male, female, there are two labels, there are two categories. I can do their distance. No, I can calculate their pair value. And I use this value to be their distance. Also, for the value starter, for example, there are 5 categories. So I will have a 5 probability. And I will also have a 5 from N1, N2, N3 to N5. I can calculate their expected value for each category. So that will be my distance. Why I do that? Because you follow the idea about cluster. For example, right here, if you are the male, if you are the female, there will be a center. We call it centroid. In Chinese, we say 重心, centroid. So when a new member come here, even he stay here, we have to identify, is this member belong to the male or belong to the female? So I can calculate, okay, I know we already know the probability for male and female, but I can calculate, okay, how much this member is belong to male and how much it can be assigned to the female. That's what we calculate this kind of value. So when there are a lot of members come here, the centroid will be moved, right? When you have a new member and put into the new groups, the centroid will be changed. We will maybe move here, maybe move here, maybe move here. Okay. The idea to move the centroid, it means we want to, after each movement, the celebration line will be more clear to celebrate the different groups. Understand? Okay, so this is why we have to use the idea to do that. Okay, so this line, for example, is to celebrate different two groups. Okay. To celebrate. So this line you can imagine. If I can set it just like a X, one predictor, and this predictor can be a grouping variable. It means it's in a global format to identify the male and the female. So the distance from the centroid to the central line will be my y. So if I can do a good separation, that means the hypothesis testing will be rejected. For why I say that? If you remember right here, you stay here, the distance to the male group centroid, the distance is almost the same. So it means this new member can be assigned to male and also can be assigned to female. So I don't want to make this hypothesis to be successful. So I would like to reject it. This idea is just followed by the ANOVA. Okay, so what I want to do is the distance between the member to the male or female the centroid should be reject. And how strongly, how significantly you can identify, that means you are really do a good cluster result. Okay, so this is a typical and a fundamental example for two groups. If you have three groups, for example, no one, for example, for others, you have two or more groups. Do you have to use sorry. If you have more than one group, or more than two groups, you still want to do the separation job. Okay, so how much line you will need? You still have to need one line. The line will be not straightforward. Maybe we just use this way, interactive, but it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, it still makes sense. You don't have to worry about how many lines I want to do, because I can extend this hypothesis to mu1, mu2, mu3, mu k. Depends upon how many groups you use. Okay, but my only one target, my only one mission is to reject the hypothesis cascade, the new hypothesis. Because when I reject, I can say, okay, I really do a better separation between the groups. Maybe some groups they are still overlap. That means you can involve yourself to two-way ANOVA. Put another variable again, not only the grouping variable. You can put other variable again to do a two-way ANOVA. Sometimes you will need to do the three-way ANOVA, based upon how much data information you have. But right here, I will show you how to do the one-way ANOVA after class analysis. But for the two-way ANOVA, it depends on you how much you want to do that. Okay, because for myself, cluster plus two-way ANOVA will be the next research topic I am following now. Yeah, one-way ANOVA is easy to understand, but two-way ANOVA, maybe not so difficult, maybe, but I don't know. I still take time to do some literature review, right? But just show you this idea. Okay. So let's go back here. We use the real case for practice.
Sorry.
Okay. All right.